Of Greater Shiloh Baptist Church, and we all thank the congregation and Pastor of Record, Pastor Michael Wesley, for allowing us, Dr. Michael W. Wesley Sr., allowing us to utilize a space in the community that this church sits in. And we are honored to be in any space, in anyone's church of record or community room of record, because, you know, I like when churches basically use their facilities not just for self, but for community. And this church has often done that, as so many others that you all attend have done as well. And we used to gather at churches, didn't we? When things were going down, where did we go? Church. That's right. That's where we got the message. So, again, thank you so much for coming to this community forum. I'm your host, Shiloh Smoot, and I will be directing questions at the panel that were given to me by the people of record who are sponsoring, and they are the Black Contractors Association. Raise your hand. They're just members. There are several, there are over at least 50 members of that organization. There are a couple over there too, and you may hear from some of them at the end. Also, the Citizens to Save Jefferson County. Raise your hand. Okay. And the Fraternal Order of Police and the Gatekeepers Association. So those are it. And they will be, this is also, thank you to First Impressions Media, Jarvis Escott, will be streaming this live, so we will be joined by a whole Facebook audience and a social media audience. And here is the flow of today's community forum. We will give you 30 seconds to introduce yourself. You will be allowed to have answers per question at 2 minutes each. A 30-second warning will be given to you to get wrapped up. I will allow you to continue an original thought. I won't cut you off mid-thought. However, if you go over and I say time, the person controlling this mic will control your mic and will cut your mic. And we will continue on in a favorable fashion. This is my timekeeper of record. Say hello to Sarah Beth Kunkel. She will give you that red card. She'll hold it up, and I will try to graciously assist you in wrapping up your thoughts. But again, please have an original thought. Be your authentic self. We are very honored that you are running for any election, particularly the ones that you're sitting here for school board and city council in these districts, District 6 and District 7. Also, we will continue in alphabetical order. And then on your closing statement, you'll have 30 seconds again to wrap it up, tell us why we should vote for you, the audience of record, and we will then continue on. And there will be no current questions from the audience at this time. That may change. And that is going to be according to the people who slipped me the record, and that would be Miss Marcia Forrest. If they say they want questions, I will take questions from the audience. I want you to be brief, and we may take a couple of Facebook questions depending on what Mr. Escott tells me to do. I am your moderator of record, so don't shoot the messenger. All right. Any other questions? Any other directions? At this time, the order of candidates is as follows. Ms. Watkins, Tisha Watkins, and we're going to call the roll. Ms. Watkins?
Present.
Here. Letitia Watkins. Am I saying that?
Letitia Watkins Harville.
Okay,
Yes.
great. You want Harville on the end of that?
Yes, please.
Letitia Watkins Harville? Yes, ma'am. And Nancy Williams is out of town, but he was supposed to be represented by the gentleman of record who is not here, Kevin Staples. If he walks in, we will allow him to join you all. Okay, that is District 6. And District 7, Walt Wilson, who is your incumbent, is currently here as well. Thank you both for joining us. Okay, at this time, we're going to allow you all to open up with your introduction of yourself. And Ms. Watkins Harville, we're going to start with you.
Good morning, everyone. First, thank you to Pastor Wesley and this organization for giving us an opportunity to meet here on today. My name is Letitia Watkins Harville. I serve as your current District 6 representative for the Birmingham Board of Education. I'm really excited to be serving our children and our community. I chair the policy committee for the board. I also sit on the superintendent's evaluation committee. As a former scientist, I serve as the board representative for the science textbook selection committee, and I also serve on the calendar committee. In my day-to-day work, I serve as the 6th Avenue Baptist Church Director of Children and Youth and the chair of the Titusville Youth Sports Association. And if you are paying attention in recent news, the city of Birmingham has now made youth sports free to children in Birmingham. And I also, yes, to be commended. And I also sit as the advisory team member for Birmingham Youth Sports League. Very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Watkins Harville. And we're going to now move to District 7. Good morning, Mr. Wilson.
Good morning. I'm affectionately known as Big Walt. We go by Big Walt Wilson. I'm the incumbent in District 7. I am the first man in the history of the elected school board to serve and represent District 7. I'm extremely proud of that. Also, I'm an advocate for our babies. I could go on with a long list of the things that I've done over the years, but you guys will get bored quick. I love our babies. I'm dedicated to our schools, and I'm happy and very, very excited to continue to serve District 7 as a school board representative.
Thank you so much for your introductions this morning. At this time, we're going to start with our questioning. And again, District 6 is represented in District 7, and we're just going to play it by ear. We'll go back and forth. So this is not, these are just questions. And if you can't answer them, that's fine. If you can't, just graciously say, you want to pass. What is your vision to bring our schools further up? Further up. You're starting to do some things, but nearly 5 months after the Alabama State Department of Education released its latest report cards, Birmingham City schools are grappling with the challenge of improving academic performance. While the district earned a C overall, 7 schools received failing grades, down from 15, of course, the previous year. What is your vision to bring 7 schools from failing to thriving? Ms. Watkins Harville?
Walt and I were fighting for the mic. I just would like to note when we joined in 2021, we were looking at about 20 schools that were on that list. And you've heard from our moderator that that number has been cut to 15. And I'm actually happy to share that there are no failing schools in District 6 any longer. And we've cut that number of schools with an F to 2 schools. And so we're just really excited about the progress that we've made. I think we're going to talk a little bit about strategic planning soon, but academic achievement has really been at the core. We've even created a new network 4, where we get to identify some of those schools that have had some chronic struggles in the past, and now they have a representative, almost like an instructional superintendent, that they get to report to directly. And so they're reporting to that leader, the principals in those schools. They know the numbers, they know each child by name. In fact, before we moved those schools, I was a tutor there throughout my term here on the board. And when I walked into the schools and got my list of my child, I knew exactly where they were with phonemic awareness. I knew if it was a vocabulary struggle. And so it has been very intentional, child by child, school by school, and I know that we can do the same thing with those last 2 schools.
Thank you. Big Walt?
It's kind of hard to follow that. I am happy to announce that there are no failing schools in District 7. We're not supposed to release this data because the state hadn't done it yet, but I want you all to know that Winona High School went from a failing school to a C. Jones Valley is no longer a failing school. So what's being done is working. It comes by supporting a superintendent who's more than qualified to do his job and not get caught up in the political nonsense that come from outside communities. I know the question was about data. But y'all, there's an attack on public education in the state of Alabama.
Yeah.
That's what we're not talking about. The governor wants the students to have free choice, and in order for them to have free choice in charter schools, and I can't speak much about it because we're authorizers of charter schools, and they'll be playing this recording in an appeal somewhere. But the attack comes because the school systems within a city or within a county have to be doing terrible. They have to be failing schools. They have to have very bad ACAP scores. And then they can swoop in like the superheroes that they are and save the little black and brown children. I call BS. Our children are more than capable. They're proving it every single day. So my answer once again is our babies are thriving with the right leadership and with common
30
sense. Common sense board members who know right and wrong and know to trust the professionals and not those, the leeches and parasites that want to come in our system and bleed it dry for its finances. Our babies can succeed. They will continue to improve.
Thank you so much for your answer, Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson, chronic absenteeism. Approximately 29% of students were chronically absent in 2022. That's over 6,000 students that did not come to your schools for whatever reason. What is your proposed path for parents to take to improve students attending school? And what is your proposed path for your current administration to get that together? And please address the audience, and so we can address the Facebook audience and the rest of the streaming audience as well. Thank you.
And I apologize for my passion, y'all. I love my babies. I'm a product of Birmingham City Schools, and I also represent the failures of Birmingham City Schools. I was a high school dropout. As an adult, young adult, at 19 years old, I got my high school diploma from a private high school. Thanks to leadership, the late Coach Ronald Cheatham encouraged me to go to a private school and get my high school diploma. My wife encouraged me to go to college. So, not only am I a part of his failure, I'm also a part of his success. There's things that we know that we're not supposed to reveal to you all yet, because the state has not officially released them. And I may get in trouble for that, but I'm going to always...
I can help you out with that. So do not give us what the current is. Tell us what happened before. And I think you'll be safe with that.
Okay, so I can't help it. If I get in trouble, I get in trouble because I'm going to always tell the truth. It is what it is.
We'll go back a year, that way you won't get in trouble.
So here we are, y'all. School attendance is up in a major way. It's because the powers that be put their egos aside, starting with the mayor of Birmingham, starting with the leadership in the housing authority, and the board of education. That partnership, we found out that a lot of children within our housing community had very high absenteeism in Birmingham City Schools. So Ahmad Matthews and other memberships of the housing community came up with an idea to incentivize parents for babies who don't miss days of school. That has worked. Offering rides, our school buses now go to areas to where we know that they're flooding, and they sit and they transport kids across those places to make sure they get there. Attendance is up. As a matter of fact, I'm going to release some information that shouldn't be a secret, Commissioner Smoot. It's not a secret. It's okay. They can't do nothing but fire me.
30 seconds.
Birmingham City Schools, post-pandemic, is the #3 most improved school system in the state of Alabama. And you guys are not seeing it on the news. And dagnabbit, we in church, but baby, we 7th in the nation. They're not reporting it in the news.
Do you have that report?
I can give it to you.
We will be asking for
With
that.
a tremendous amount of
Trust me.
pride. I can give it to you.
Yeah.
And,
And I appreciate that.
and y'all know I'm a little rough around the edges. I'm just a big old country boy, that's all.
Miss Watkins Harville.
Well, I will share, and I'm really excited to share this, that we have cut chronic absenteeism from 29% to 14%. And I want to, you've heard about the partnership. It's called Everyday Counts. And so you've heard about that partnership with the mayor of Birmingham and with the Housing Authority. But I also want to share a partnership that we have with District Attorney Danny Carr. It's called the Helping Families Initiative, because some of the things that you don't see, it's really challenging to just kind of pull numbers off of a computer, because there are stories behind those numbers, and there are children. And a lot of what you see behind chronic absenteeism is social economic issues, and so homelessness, not having clean clothes, or not having viable transportation. The Helping Families Initiative, in partnership with the District Attorney's Office, it really helps to cut some of those issues. It gets down to the root of the problems, and it works with families. So that's why we're seeing that increase now in attendance, because we're addressing some of the socioeconomic disadvantages that unfortunately our children are facing. And so we're really excited about the movement that we're making with increasing, because we know the numbers don't lie for us. When our children are in school, they learn, they thrive, and this is also why we have initiatives in place like Intercession. So when we put the children in front of the educators, in front of the principals, we know that they have a fighting chance. And so we have a lot of partners. Our SEL program, this board has invested in Rethink Ed, and that helps to get to some of the social emotional issues that our children are facing. It helps to stomp out bullying, the types of things that would prevent a child from coming to school. And so that number, like I said, is steadily going down.
Thank you very much for that answer. Strategic plan. The school board has developed a 5-year strategic plan focused on district accountability, streamlining operations, and improving consistency across schools. Are you familiar with this plan? If so, tell us what your take on it is. If not, tell us what you think a plan ought to be.
Thank you. For my last 15 seconds, from the last question, I just want the question was asked if we can get the report. The study that shows out of 8,000 schools that were studied, Birmingham is #1 in the state for math recovery and #7 in the nation. That study is done by Harvard University and Stanford University, and we can provide that. We're in year 2 of our strategic plan. This current board had an opportunity to work together to come up with some of the issues. We spent months and months with a partner through Harvard University surveying our communities and our families. We even dug deep to find out why some families were leaving, which I also want to add that attendance is up. For the first time in 30 years, Birmingham City Schools has an increase in attendance. And so what we're finding, it's not what the teachers are doing, it's not the lessons, a lot of times it's the people. So we're in year 2 of this strategic plan, and here are our 5 focus areas. Academic achievement, student well-being, that's making sure that children feel safe at school. It's making sure that they have healthy food to eat, that they have clothes on their back. It's staff effectiveness, that's making sure that, you guys see the news, you know that there's a nursing shortage, there's a teacher shortage. So staff effectiveness is making sure that the teachers that we do have, that they feel confident in that classroom. Also, it's communication and customer service. Remember I said in the survey we found that parents weren't leaving because of the school and the lessons and the curriculum. They were leaving because someone may have gotten smart with them at the front desk. So customer service is making sure that we arm the people at the front, the ones that have our babies and get their that are meeting those parents first, that they feel comfortable. And the 5th pillar of this strategic plan is district cohesion and accountability. And we have the partners. You've heard us share some of those partners to make sure that we are moving in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson?
How do you follow that? So I'm going to follow it by simply saying I agree with everything Board Member Harville said. And even more importantly, guys, the leadership of this current board. As grown folk, we disagree, but we try to carry ourselves in a dignified, respectful way. Her leadership is unquestioned and unparalleled. And if I was voting today, she'd be the next president of Birmingham Board of Education. Great job.
Thank you. Views on public schools versus charter schools. Mr. Wilson, what's your view on public schools versus charter schools, as you know, and you all have a dilemma there because you are, they come to you for that. What is your take on that, and how do you proceed?
Ladies and gentlemen of Facebook, ladies and gentlemen in this audience, I ran for the Board of Education to represent the children of Birmingham City Schools. That is my commitment, that is my loyalty, and I'll continue to fight for equality and high quality education for every child in Birmingham City Schools.
My colleague has already shared, and I'll offer some clarity here with Birmingham City Schools being an authorizer. I want you to know that means that we get first right of refusal. We get to see who is attempting to come into our neighborhoods. I'm a proud resident of Titusville, and I want to go on record again and say that there is no failing schools in District 6. There is no failing school in the neighborhood of Titusville. And so I'm standing 10 toes down on public education, on Birmingham City Schools, a champion for Birmingham City Schools, a product of public education, and also a product of what it looks like when someone invests in children in our public schools. I'm also going to share this. This current administration on the federal level, dollars are being cut from every category. You know where they're not being cut? In charter and in private schools. That is an attack on public education. This is not the time to change leadership. This is the time to invest, re-elect those who are already in the fight, those who are going to stand for public education, and those when funding is being frozen, we have areas of funding that are being frozen right now. We have made investments. We've made sure that we have our funding account built up, and so we know what to do in times of war. We've been able to lead in times of peace. It's time for war, and you don't want to change leadership at this moment.
Thank you so much for your answer. This is specific to both District 6 and 7 and any other candidate that would be here is this question. What have you done directly yourself to impact your current district of record? What have you done directly yourself to impact the current record of district? Basically, what have you fought for? What is your passion? What has this community told you that they wanted that you got for them? I'm starting with you, Mr. Wilson.
Thanks again. I've been pretty consistent, guys, on fighting for what I would say is righting some wrongs. Commissioner Shiloh Tyson just walked in the room. And for years, Commissioner was trying to get the gym floor at Winona High School dedicated to legendary girls basketball coach Tubby Manuel Bell. And we got that done. This board got that done. I advocate for Winona High School. I advocate to make sure that our babies are in clean classrooms during COVID. We were at the forefront, making sure that those classrooms were being sanitized every day. We were in the forefront making sure that our babies had devices so they could do distance learning. Big Walt was at the forefront of advocating for Oxmoor Valley, Green Acres, advocating for Arrington. And I tell you something, y'all. Sometimes it's a little hard to talk about yourself when you're doing what you know in your heart is right. Because I was taught as a child not to boast and brag. Those of you who are leaders in this room, you understand what I'm talking about. But I can simply say this to all of you. A wise man told me years ago, let the work I do speak for me. So I'm going to echo those sentiments, y'all. I love District 7. I love our babies. Right now I have a shirt on. It's okay if I stand up. This is what we do every year. Mr. Muhammad, I hope you can appreciate this. It's called the Fantastic Voyage Through History. Every year we fundraise, sell barbecue ribs, beg Councilor Wardeen Alexander and anybody else who will give us a donation. And we take our children to historic places in Alabama and teach them the history of us and adversities that we've gone through to give our children a chance at the American dream. And we'll continue to do that. Now, that ain't got nothing to do with the school board. That's just a moral obligation that I think we all have.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service, Big Walt. When the pandemic hit in 2020, one of my students just walked in and I waved at her. I'm always happy to see her. When the pandemic hit, I went to look for funding because I know what our community is up against. when schools are out. That looks like meals that children are going to lose. That looks like educational inequity when our parents who work hourly jobs have to go to work. It doesn't look like, like standing beside a computer and making sure that your child is logged in. And I went out to get grant funding to open up a student center. And we were able to serve children from 10 different Birmingham City schools. Every child in that student center, 95% earned AB honor roll during that time. When children, you guys have heard the term pandemic learning loss, but children were thriving. And I know that if you could do that for children in 10 schools, you can do that for children in 43, 44 schools across Birmingham. And that's what I've been doing. I promised to make sure that I partner with faith leaders, with nonprofit organizations, with businesses. Every school in District 6 is represented either by a church, they're adopted by a church or a nonprofit organization, so that when our title funds get stretched and get tight, the resources are still there for the teachers, the resources are still there for the students. I recently, Walt called me while I was in Chicago, and he said, "You're the only board member out in Chicago right now." I was making sure that we could figure out how to arm our ELL population. One of my schools has 50% students that speak another language other than English. And so I've studied school districts in Chicago, school districts in Georgia, and now I've advocated to bring the first ever in the state of Alabama dual language immersion school right here in Birmingham City Schools. So starting at 4 years old, children are taking half of their day in Spanish, half of their day in English. And that's just a little bit of what we're doing, but we're fighting day in and day out and want to continue to do that work.
Thank you for your service and your work, and thank you for illustrating that to us. At this time, you've got 30 seconds each to tell us why you should go back into your both incumbents, why the electorate should continue to vote for you for your next 4 years.
Water's much more colorful, so I like to go first. I think that it's simple. Birmingham, District 6, and District 7 is also in the room. If you all agree that increasing enrollment for the first time in 30 years is on the right path, if you agree that a decrease from 29% to 14% in chronic absenteeism is movement in the right direction, if you agree that going from 53% reading on grade level to 81% reading on grade level in one single year, if you agree that that's the right type of movement, if you agree with Birmingham City Schools now being a nationally recognized leader in public education for urban schools by Forbes magazine, by New York Times, by Harvard University, by Chicago Public Schools, those are all those that are calling us to say, how are you doing it? Because leading in urban education is difficult work. There's something called high poverty, high performing districts. And if you can take a high poverty district and turn it into a high performing district, people want to know, how are you all making it happen? And if you all, as our constituents, as our community, agree that this is movement in the right direction, then the option is clear. Vote to re-elect Letitia Watkins Harville on August 26th for Board of Education, District 6.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson.
So the numbers don't lie. We can make up all the things we want to and make whatever we want to come out of these mouths, but the truth will prevail and the data speaks for itself. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm unopposed. I thank God for it. I'll be taking office when the new board takes office, but my commitment to you all was to come here and talk to you today. So the most honest thing I can say to you right now, as a man who don't have an opponent, I 100% support the re-election of this sister sitting next to me. She loves our babies. She's a hard worker. I'm scared of flying. That's something I don't admit, because y'all know I'm from the hood. I'm a block away from you. This sister's getting information, educating us every opportunity. She makes sure that we understand the data. Now, you know she's a scientist. So she's breaking it down before the state breaks it down. We know what's going on because of people like her that are explaining it to us. And she does it in very simple terms so even Big Wall can understand. So thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm not being disrespectful at all. We got a back to school celebration at Hopewell, y'all, and I got to go. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Everybody, please give it up for these candidates. And on behalf of the community forum, they want to thank you both for coming to speak for your community. Even when you are an incumbent and know you're winning and you're on, they wanted to say they want to thank you for being here because it's about the community and we realize that y'all have something to do. But thank you for being so gracious and taking your time with this audience this morning. Have a great day. We're going to take a 5-minute break.